Hey everybody, welcome to New Haunt Order. This week, as always, I'm joined by Jim Jam, and we got Carol Moore here with us. But we're going to be interviewing Nate Dingman. I'm pretty excited about this one. Nate's a good guy, and heard lots of wild stories about MHC and things that happen with Nate. And
hey, what happens at MHC ends up on Facebook.
That gets posted on Facebook. So just a quick introduction. Have you listened to any of the episodes so far, Nate?
I probably have. I've listened to so many different things. I don't know what's going on anymore. There's too many of them out there.
We got a series of 6 questions we ask every guest. They're always the same questions because we like to get different perspectives on the viewpoints. So, so I would say if you've listened to the episodes before, you're familiar with the questions. If not, they're going to be brand new ones. So
hey, that's all like new, quick stuff. Unrehearsed.
Absolutely. That's how I live my life. So we'll go ahead and start with the first question, which is kind of the question we've all been asked at least once or 1,000 times in our life. Is how did you get started in haunted houses?
Let's see. I forget what year it was, but I was working at a warehouse and bought a new home, and everybody, we decided, hey, I'm gonna throw a party, and it just so happened to be around Halloween, and decorated the yard with some plastic and crappy tombstones, and had a good time, and everybody liked it. And so the next year, I started looking around, and I ran into Antioch Asylum, and that's when I started. That was, what year was that?
That was 2000.
2000. That'd have been 2005.
Yeah,
somewhere around there.
2004.
And followed them ever since.
Yeah, that was
then
long before I made the move to Nashville.
And then spent a lot of money along the way.
So you started, like I said, you started with a Halloween party, and then the next year found a haunted house. And did you start out as an actor or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I wanted to, started learning about it, and I was like, hey, this seems like fun to do, and I wanted to improve the home game here. I was like, I can't just deal with this little plastic stuff. So I actually found it, and I was like, hey, I want to help, know the insides. I want to help build. And so he handed me a can of spray paint and told me to go over here and do this. And so I slowly started learning that, and then that was all volunteer. And then I got an acting job inside. My first job, I was I actually remember it. We called it the Willow House. It was this little tiny. I spent the whole evening basically crouched over. I had a little door that you popped up the ceiling or something right here. Had a window I could stand up on, and then had a picture drop. So I had 3 scares for my first acting, and then it just rolled on from there.
I've been to the asylum one time, I believe it was when it was, but I think the next year it closed down.
Yeah, it went from Antioch Asylum, and then it went to Demon's Den, then Demon's Den 2, and at that place he had to basically, they were like, hey, we're tearing the building down, so you can't get in here. So he took the whole haunt down, and then, hey, you can have the building. So we built the whole haunt back up next year. Nope, we're tearing the building down. So he took everything down, and then they said, no, you can keep it. So that was not fun.
Hell no.
Sounds exhausting.
Is Antioch Asylum, isn't that Brad Webb's?
Yep.
Okay. So that, I guess, blossomed from that to Nashville Nightmare.
Well, then it went to, you got, so it went Antioch Asylum, Demons Den 1, Demons Den 2, went to Haunted Nashville out in Hermitage. Carol's laughing on that one. So the first year I worked on that one. The second year, I'd end up getting laid off from my job, and so I was basically I'll working under, I'll work right on that, and halfway through that, found out that what was that farm? Yeah,
Scream Creek.
yeah, that's the one. I went up, helped him with that, and then I got hired on to the railroad, and I had to leave. That was 2010. So in 2010, I really didn't do much in the haunt industry, but hired on the railroad, so I'll take that.
Yeah. I was gonna say, you can always tell Brad Webb shows because Brad loves his alliteration. Yeah. Antioch Asylum, Demons Den, Nashville Nightmare. But to be fair, those are all they're easy to remember because alliteration is easy to remember.
Yeah, and I've seen the growth. In that short amount of time, I've seen the growth of it, and it's amazing. And then after that, I ended up National Nightmare, and then went with Carol to the woods for 2 years, and back at Nightmare again.
Speaking of the woods, had to rep it today.
There you go.
I would love one day. I'm gonna get me a Death Yard shirt made. I have to get it custom made, but it'd be so worth it though to have that badass shirt.
Oh man, you got you a Nightmare whiskey shirt, don't you?
But it's just the original. I want the OG. I gotta have the OG.
Yeah.
But I got the Nightmare one. My wife's got one in the baseball tee. Or was it Raglan? Is that what they call it, or something like that?
Yeah.
But anyways, right now, get you a new Haunt Order shirt. Go check.
Yeah, do it.
But,
I got one.
Yep, I got one too. I love it.
I need to add to my collection.
yeah.
We're trying to take over the world. It's like like the NWO did.
Yeah.
Well, all right, that'll take us to our next question, which is always an interesting one to see what the answer is on that one. Is what's your favorite scene that you've ever built?
At my house?
At your house, or in a show, or anything like that. Just a favorite scene you've been a part of building.
Well, I would have to say this year, and it's not complete yet, but it's I've done the Laser Swamp for 2 years, and I love the Laser Swamp. And every year I add more and more onto it, and this year it is huge. I'm attempting it's probably 20 foot by about 30 foot outdoors with a complete little boardwalk with little rope handles. I don't know if you've seen the pictures that I posted and a little video I did, but
I've been watching you.
yeah. I thought it would be easy until this little, virus came along and apparently shut all lumber mills down, and deck boards are very hard to come by right now.
Yep.
Oh damn, that's no good.
I only need 4 more. That's all I need. 4 more deck boards.
Dang. Well, I was redoing my deck, and I got 4 deck boards, and I guess I'm not gonna be able to redo it. I have to wait.
You got to get there at Home Depot or Lowe's like first thing in the morning, and then you might get lucky.
Well, you can go the synthetic route. You can get some of them synthetic boards if you want to pay out the butt.
Oh, good Lord, them things are what, $25 a board?
Yeah. Hey, they will last forever though.
Well, the swamp scene's is going to change next year, probably.
Then you won't need it.
Gotta change it up.
I mean, you got to. That's the one. I don't know if that's a good habit or bad habit that I've picked up is I can't keep it the same every year. I have to change it up.
Well, I'm gonna have to
Hey, just change the color of your laser.
Oh, that's no fun. That's the easy way out.
Now what you do is you only change things under the laser level. So people saw it last year like, oh, this is the same, and then they trip and fall over stuff. So
Not
not the same, is an asshole. Aha!
You got a tripwire under there for you.
I gotta say the laser swamps are probably one of my favorite newer things that they're doing in haunted houses. I know the first time I ever saw that type of an effect, they weren't using it as a swamp, but Carol, you were actually with us. It was at Netherworld 3 or 4 years ago, and they had it overhead, and they had one of their bungee actors would jump down through it.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, that was the first time I ever saw that, laser barrier effect, kind of like that. And then I think it was at Transworld the next year is when I saw the laser swamp.
Yeah, Netherworld's always used the even if it wasn't like above, they had like the laser like at an angle, like you're walking into it, and the actor would come out of that right before you make a turn. They've always used different smaller things, but like using it on a big level, you're right, they were the first ones that I've ever seen do it. Not saying they were the first, but they definitely did. And the first time I ever seen it, period, was in the movie Alien, where the facehugger pods, they had that blue laser looking thing that was kind of like going over the alien eggs, and they actually borrowed that from the band The who was setting up their stage for their concert in the next sound stage over from when they were shooting Alien. So they asked if they could borrow that laser and did that whole thing, which is pretty fucking cool.
Man,
Oh, hell yeah.
there's some trivia for you.
I never knew that. Damn.
Yeah.
Hey, does people in those swamp scenes or whatever, do they ever put like some foam down, maybe wet foam, so when people walk on it, it's like squishy ground? Or is that not safe?
I would assume it can be
Nightmare.
safe as long as the transition. The transition is what you gotta. That's the whole thing about what people walk on. If you have a transition from a hard surface to whatever other surface, you got to make sure that transition's smooth, because if they can't see it, that's a big thing. But I don't know. Matt, you said, what were you saying?
I'll say it at Nightmare 2 years ago over in the fairy tale hell scene. They did the squishy bridge with the laser vortex. So you'd step on that and it felt like you were kind of sinking down. And then they had an actor in there as well who would pop up and without fail scared the shit out of every group because you can't see him. But yeah, they did that effect there, and it seemed to be, we didn't really have any issues with it that year.
I think that would be pretty cool. Make it feel like you're walking in the swamp or whatever. Too bad you couldn't get super immersive and I actually put where they have to walk through water, but let them know beforehand you're gonna get wet in here, and then you could have like fake snakes just floating in the water.
I'll give Carol enough time; he'll figure out how to do it.
I was about to say, I see the wheels turning. Carol's like, write stuff down over here. Hang on. What was that again?
Yeah. I'll hire a lifeguard to be there too. We'll just make it work.
I think it was.
Have a lifeguard with night vision.
I think I saw at Statesville Prison either last year or the year before in their laser swamp. They got one of the Gorgalore, the low alligators, and because they were saying, people are starting to get, learn about the laser swamp when they go and they look under the laser to see where to go.
Oh,
so they had
a gator sitting right there.
Yeah, one of those little low gators. So when they look under, they come at them with that.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Now my wheels are turning.
All right. So that was, your swamp. You said your favorite scene you've been working on. What is a favorite scene that you've ever encountered at a show that you've gone to? That's a big question.
That's a tough question because there's been so many good shows that I've scene that it's. I mean, it's. I really don't have a single one because there's so many amazing scenes out there, and sometimes it's the most simplistic scenes that are the best. Like the one scene I loved at the woods was right there after the boat was that little, I don't know, what do you call it, a little shack with all the stuff. Carol, what was that?
Voodoo.
Oh, the Voodoo Shack.
Voodoo Shack, yeah, right there. I just love that scene because it was so simple, but it looked so great at the same time. But then you go over to Nightmare, and he has a damn subway in there, and it's like, how do you draw the comparison?
Yes, it's definitely hard to compare a small realistic scene versus a grandiose over the top scene. But we'll skip a little bit on the question. What's the first, or what's a kind of jaw dropping scene that comes to mind when you think about it? Like something that when you saw it for the first time, you're like, holy shit.
We went. It was actually at HauntCon 2 years ago. We went to was it 13th Gate? Is that down there in Mississippi, or is that Hell's Gate? Which one is that?
No, Hell's Gate's in Chicago.
Yeah, so it was 13th Gate then, and they took us on. We ended up getting a little freebie behind the scenes, little walkthrough before they were finished, and they had a very interesting Wizard of Oz scene, and it was black and white, and then all of a sudden they had like the wind turbines going to where you're like in the house, and then you went through like the tornado, and then it became color, and then next thing you know you're walking through, and you go through a cave, and there is a woolly mammoth, life-size woolly mammoth inside this cave, and you walk like under it, and it was one of those, you turn the corner and you're not even expecting, you're just like, wow. It was amazing.
Wow.
Sounds amazing.
If you get a chance, I would say definitely check that one out.
I just want to, Nate, keep doing what you're doing, buddy. Your home haunt is awesome. I love it. I hope that you get to have your own show one day, because working with you at the woods and just you're very passionate about what you do, and I think a lot of home haunts get a bad rap. A lot of home haunters do. There are bad apples, even in the pro circuit, but somebody like you understand. You're not one of those. If that's, you know what I'm saying? That makes sense.
You gotta look out for safety. Safety first.
Yeah.
That's one of the big things.
I know that they're probably going to talk more about it later, but just, maybe you may have bigger attendance this year because some other haunts may not be able to open, and other people may feel more comfortable going to smaller shows and home haunts, and you may have more people than just your neighbors and stuff showing up this year. So that
we'll see.
But yeah, dude, I'll be in town in a few weeks. I want to get everybody, together and have a get together and try to social distance and do something. Maybe Matt will bring us over his new place. How about it, Matt?
I'm shooting for it.
Cool.
Trying to get the house ready to host.
Well, dude, I'll bring the beer. I'll bring the beer.
Speaking of, I still got some beers in the fridge from the last time you came over.
I definitely would love to come check out your home haunt, Nate. You're only like less than 30 minutes away from me. I'm in Manchester. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm right there off of Florence Road and pretty much where Medical Center Parkway is.
All right. Well, if you want, we'll go ahead and end this call. Let you get off here, Carol.
Good seeing you, buddy. Be
Good
safe,
seeing you, man.
And keep rocking and rolling. Jimmy, Matt, I'll see y'all soon.
All right, have a good one. We'll see you.
All right. Be careful. So I had a great idea. Okay, we could do a dry run here at the house because you want to meet up here. You got to make sure Wi-Fi is good and all that. But if you come right now, I do have saws. I do have my drills powered up. You can move some wall panels for me, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, well, you're just enlisting a little help. Make it complete.
Yeah.
Get a bunch of people there and get it done pretty quick, huh?
God, help would be nice.
So sometimes it depends on the help.
Right.
Sometimes help can actually make it worse.
Yeah, they just be in the way.
Well, hell, so anybody can move a wall panel. Those get heavy after a while.
You would think anyone could do that.
So, do you have to tear down your stuff every year?
I partially do. Like
Yeah.
stuff, you can't see any of my stuff from the road really.
Oh, okay.
And I don't have any immediate backyard neighbors, so I don't really have to take. I got a 2-story facade of a house in the backyard still, and
Wow.
you can't even see it from the road.
Hell
Yeah, I was actually at some point I'm probably gonna pick your brain on some stuff, Nate, because I'm planning on doing a home haunt next year here
Cool.
because I've got a big old. I don't know if you can see it for the glare.
Oh,
I got a big
wow.
old-
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's a blank slate there.
And it's all pretty flat, and between the front and the backyard, I've got half an acre to play with.
And it's flat. Well, that'd be something new. I'm not
Yep.
used to building on flat level ground.
It's flat, and all of this tree line, I've got about another 8 feet beyond that tree line. So this fall, I'm planning on going in and cutting out a tunnel through there.
Nice.
We're gonna do a
Hell
witches
yeah.
back through there.
Well,
That'd be
there's your
cool.
There's your laser swamp through the woods.
Yep. Pretty wild.
Would you set them up vertical and shoot them along or would you have to do it like a regular
I'll
swamp?
do it. You could do either way.
I don't
You
know.
can do it.
I think I might do it, differently than the swamp, just to kind of make it look a little bit different. I may do them
Would it-
kind of like how people did, where they're shooting down. You have to walk through it.
Could it work if you put the laser like it was shooting like straight
And make a wall?
Yeah, make like a path with the laser and use the smoke to make the wall?
And believe it or not, people will stay on one side. They will not venture
Yep.
over. It is amazing that people do that.
So
They'll walk.
That's my plan to do a home haunt next year. I got to see how my neighbors are with my just regular display this year. If I got a bunch of people that poo-poo the display, maybe I won't do a whole haunt in the backyard next year.
Is your backyard fenced in, or
Yeah.
is it privacy fence or cyclone?
It's privacy fence on one side, chain link on the other.
There you can use the laser, the smoke laser on that side, so they couldn't even see over. Then,
Yep.
then they'll call the fire department, think something's on fire.
Now, see, that's where I switched to hazers. I got away from foggers and went to hazers. And believe it or not, hazers do work outside very well until the wind blows.
Yeah, I was saying, have you got a like contained area where you do your swamp?
Mine's inside a little privacy fence I built, and then I usually throw up camo netting across the top.
Okay.
Which I don't know how I'm going to do that this year. I'll figure something out. And any kind I did have it on a 10 by 20 canopy out back, and that held it in really good. But once again, the way the two doors were, you get that wind and it'd funnel wind right through and just take everything out.
Yeah.
So, what's the difference between the fogger and the what'd you
The
say it was? Hazer.
The hazer. Okay, a fog will shoot out that big thick blast all of a sudden, and it'll be like completely white out, and then dissipates, and then it looks really good, and then it's gone. Where the hazer is constant, and it's not a big cloud; it's just a constant haze, and I love it a lot better than the foggers.
Which in reality, a hazer I think is closer to what I would consider a fog machine.
Yep.
Whereas a fog machine is more of a smoke machine.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good example.
for describing how the cloud looks.
Yeah. And you don't use near as much juice.
No. And hazers really amplify your lighting effects a lot.
And it just drifts through the whole haunt, and so it just gives that just really eerie feeling.
Does it use the same juice as the?
No.
Okay.
No, it uses haze juice. No, I'm sure they got 20 different types of haze juice.
Yeah,
I just use that.
I think chemically it's pretty similar. It's just a different ratio on mixes.
Yeah, that's what I was curious about. How, because does it got the smell of a fogger?
No, but you can add scent to it. Like I put the swampy marsh scent in mine, and then I'll take well, this year I won't have anything hanging down because of the stupid pandemic and people panic about it. But usually I have vines all hanging down, and I'll spritz those with the swamp that what the hell is it called? It's the swamp spray from Froggy Scents, and I'll spritz the leaves down. And I mean, you've smelled those last. And yep. I still open containers, and I'm like, whoa, the swamp marsh smells. I like it. It's a very good, unique smell.
Those are the only oils that matter to me.
So you saying something about not having stuff hanging down. I noticed a lot of haunts saying that they're not going to have I call it a fat man squeeze.
Yeah, claustrophobia. I didn't put mine up either.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense because when you go through at a regular haunt, you can go through and just have people sweat all over it.
They're so nasty.
Yeah, claustrophobias are one of the grossest, nastiest things in the haunted house. People don't think about that. They're worried. They'll walk through a bathroom scene like, oh, it smells so gross. I'm like, that's fake. But a claustrophobia that's been on all season, that doesn't get sprayed with Lysol or anything like that, by the end of the season, it smells like a Turkish bathhouse is on fire.
Yeah. But
just think of it as rubbing against people's face. It got snot all over it.
Oh.
But like I said, people love them.
Yep. But the only problem with that I found it here is it takes up such a giant footprint. I mean, you figure a 10-foot claustrophobia tunnel is going to take up 14, 16 feet by 8 foot easily.
Yeah. So I guess you can definitely figure out something else to do there, huh?
Well, I didn't use it last year, and so I tend to put a prop out, and then I'll take it down and won't use it for a year or two, and then I'll bring it back, and it's like, oh, it's something new, and I'm like, well, not really.
Just forgot about it.
Yeah, like all my dinosaurs, I'm not putting the dinosaurs or the skeleton horses out this year. Plural. Horses and dinosaurs, plural. And once again, those take up a giant footprint too, with that storage word that we don't talk about. And then, of course, I ordered that giant 12-foot skeleton from Home Depot.
Oh, yeah?
So that'll be yet another prop that I have nowhere to store.
Along with it.
Do you I guess you charge to go through your haunt?
Nope.
It's free? Okay.
Free.
Just do it for the love, right?
I don't. Right. My payment is that kid who comes out screaming and laughing at the same time and just has a blast, and they all bunch up, and then they're like, we want to go again. That's the payment right there.
That's what sucks about why I love to go to haunts. I like to go behind the people that are scared to death. But it seems like this year you're not really going to get that because they're going to damn group it so far apart. So you're not really going to get to witness other people.
Yeah. And that's like the home haunt. That's my only concern is, I'm trying to figure that out now, is the spacing. And usually I'm like, okay, and I got radios and I holler at the guys, and okay, and I could tell when they're going through, when they, especially a picture drop, that makes a distinct sound, loud bang, and I could tell, okay, they're right there. And that's when I'd send the next group through. Well, this year I'm going to have to pretty much wait until they're pretty much halfway through and I'm going to do groups of no more than 4 at a time. And and then what I'm calling my queue line is really just right there at the cemetery. But this year, my whole front yard is going to be the cemetery. And when you enter, you're in the haunt. The cemetery starts the haunt. Now, I'll be at the entrance where it usually is. I'm not going to have a giant facade entrance type thing. I'm just going to stop them and go, give them the rules right there.
Right.
So I've always wanted to do, okay, with mazes. I hate mazes in a haunt. One, it's like they either ran out of time, they ran out of money, or they ran out of ideas. Is usually why I throw a maze in there, because otherwise, why?
Yeah.
Unless it's a separate attraction, it's okay, that's fine. But I've always wanted to do a cemetery maze, something like a New Orleans type cemetery, where you enter the cemetery and then you get to a point, you can go left or right. Okay, well, you go left or right, and then you get to another point and you can go left or right. And next thing you know, after a few turns, you're in a maze without realizing it.
Yeah.
But
Cool.
that would take a lot of space and a lot of money.
Yeah.
But I think it'd be a really cool idea.
I always had an idea to do one. I called it Terminal of Terror, but you're in a train station and you come to a certain point, and it's pretty much a guided tour. But you can pick either which way you want to go. You got 2 different ways, and each way has its different ending. But at one of the endings of it, you come out to a concert, like a band playing. And the other just comes out to whatever, just to exit. But then, like, people I want to go back there and see what other side goes to.
It's almost like a choose your own adventure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be pretty cool.
Like, and have a band playing at the haunt the whole season would be pretty cool.
Like I read, I forget what haunt it was, but it was a very interesting idea where they had all of a sudden you're going through the haunt, and they said you went into this next room, and it was the actors' lounge, and there's like 2 actors sitting in there, makeup artist doing his thing, and they said the people would walk in and they're so confused that they're like, oh wait, are we supposed to be here? And then they go out the next door and they're back in the haunt. And I'm like, that would be such a mind fuck on the
I had an idea years ago when I was working at Ripley's of doing a scene in a haunt where it looks like you've wandered into the backstage area. Like you see costumes hanging on racks, and it's brightly lit with fluorescent lights. But as you're walking between 2 costume racks, that's where the scare comes. The costumes come to life or whatever and come out and are grabbing at you. So you go and you go, I don't think I'm supposed to be here. I guess we'll go over here, and if they follow the pathway, and boom, you scare them there because they're not expecting that because they think they're out of the show.
I like that one.
Going back to the maze topic, I'm a huge fan of the movie The Shining.
Who is it?
Shining. So I've always wanted to, and one day I'm going to do it. I've always wanted to do a hedge maze in an attraction, but I want to do it to where it's not just a maze. As you're walking through, like you have walls that'll close in on you, or the path will change direction. Like you'll have hedge maze walls that'll pivot, and then there's another pathway. I would like to be able to split groups that way. It's going to be expensive because foliage is not cheap.
No, it is expensive.
It's either expensive or garbage.
Right.
And then have to put it on some kind of system that will pivot for you. So
the mechanics, that's the easy part.
Oh,
getting the money to buy all that foliage, that's the hard part.
Yeah.
You definitely probably want to buy it pre-growed, right?
Yeah, I'll just plant hedges.
Well, you got a nice big backyard right there. If you start now, in 10 years, what are they called? Box hollies?
Yeah.
You'll have a forest back there in 10 years.
I'll just plant or I'll put some fencing in. I'll just plant some kudzu. It'll take care of it in 6 months.
There you go. Oh, the Chinese seeds. Those are what you need to plant.
Yeah, there we go.
We don't know what these are yet.
Well, that's kind of a good, conversation to transition to the next question. because the next one is if you had no restrictions on budget or building codes or neighbor complaints or anything, what is your dream haunt? What's the one thing that you're like, if I ever, won the lottery, that's the haunt I would do?
I would love to have like an earthquake. Like you're in like an actual house, and then all of a sudden it's an earthquake and everything starts falling down and like walls crumbling down and ground shaking. I think that would put you in a whole nother world.
That
Oh,
that was
definitely.
scary to me.
Yeah, right. Imagine that ceiling falling down.
Whew.
That would be insane. Could you possibly do like the floor falling out and people? That'd probably be too much of a chance of hurting someone, wouldn't it? The floor falling out.
No, they do the falling floors where they drop like 2 inches, but
Yeah.
that 2 inch, it's with all with the airbags and stuff like the elevator. But that 2 inch fall,
It feels a lot more.
yeah. It's like they, I know they do have some kind of like photo op where it's on a bench, and when the guy goes to take the picture, he hits a button and it drops, and so everybody's like, "Oh shit!" and that's when he takes the picture.
Again, go back to Netherworld a few years ago. They had an area in their show where, I guess, from what I gathered from it, is it was supposed to be a giant had picked up the room you were in, because you had these giant fingers and giant hand, and you could see an eyeball in the window, but the whole room was shaking.
Oh, nice.
Like it would drop in corners and raise in other corners and shake you back and forth, kind of like what I'm doing with my camera.
Yeah.
And it felt almost like what you were describing, except the building itself didn't crumble. But I remember that was pretty wild because the entire room moved.
They probably had it on like, would you say airbags or something?
Yeah, it was more likely it was airbags.
I would love to take a lights on detailed tour of Netherworld.
You and me both.
Oh my god, because we'd probably just be over sensory overload on that.
They probably don't do that, do they?
They do, but you have to know the right people.
Yeah, it's all about knowing people.
Oh yeah, I managed, and this kind of surprised me. I managed to arrange a backstage tour of Netherworld a few years ago with the crew from Death Yard, and they took us back and showed us their makeup area and their prop and mask storage area, and like I said, I was kind of surprised I was able to pull that one off. I reached out to my buddy Tim, who got me started in haunted houses, who'd known Ben for years. And on the way down, Tim calls me and goes, "Yeah, Ben said just ask for him when you get there."
And you're like, "Oh, really?
Okay.
All right, this will work."
All right, I get that VIP treatment.
That's another guest that I've been trying to get on, but he's a hard man to get a hold of.
He's our white whale. If we can get Ben Armstrong on the show, that's how we know we've made it.
Right.
So he's would he be considered the top haunter?
He's definitely one of, if not the.
He's yeah. And to meet him, he's so just, "Hey, how's it going? Take time out, talk to you. Just a normal person," and you would never believe that he owns Netherworld. It was like,
Ben is just he's a great guy. And you can tell he just loves haunted houses and has always had a passion for it, because everything he does, he's not going to do something unless he does it like all the way, like to the nine.
Yep.
Because you never go to Netherworld and come out going, it was okay. You always come out going, like, every year they're raising the bar. It's like eventually you're like, how are they going to keep doing this?
Right. How do you keep coming up with ideas and and sure enough he does.
Yep. And this is by no means a dig at what they do, but he has a really, really good resource pool of people in Atlanta, of really talented, effects people and set people, and by all means, I wish I had that resource. Like, that's not me going, well, he's only able to do that because he's got all these people that can do. Like, no, like I'm jealous of the resources he has in Atlanta
Well, I
because
think too in Atlanta, they film a lot of movies there, so there's already actors living there, right?
yeah, you can get top quality actors, you can get industry professional people who also enjoy haunted houses, so they're willing to come out and do that work at its top notch.
That's
And
why when you see pictures that Ben posts, it looks like stuff off of movies, right?
hmm and sometimes it is stuff off of movies. He's got semi trailers full of movie props and costumes and set pieces. He's got several semi trailers that are all Hunger Games props, and he's got Zombieland props, and it's just because it's available.
So
Yeah. So when I started getting into this in the early days, and I'd go to the haunts, and I'm like, I'm not even thinking, why do they have 20 tractor and trailers? There's no way somebody could have that much stuff in it. The tractor and trailer holds a bunch of stuff. And then 15 years later, I'm looking, going, now I see why.
Now you're going, I need a semi trailer.
Right?
find you one that's broke down and just park it in the back. Take
Well,
the
then,
wheel.
then you have some haunts that build haunts in semi trailers.
Yeah.
Like, that's a thing.
Well, Nightmare has one of their scenes goes through a trailer, right?
Yep. I've seen entire modular haunts. They'll pull 4 or 5 semi trailers into a parking lot, put them in a circle, they all connect, and then they open up.
That would be so simple, or not simple, but the setup would be, no, okay, boom, boom, boom. There we go. Couple plugs.
It's very similar to traveling carnivals.
Yeah.
Wonder why they have not done that before. That would be cool if they could just do a traveling haunt.
I've seen a couple traveling shows like that. They typically don't travel very far, or people will do those as a means to fund getting into a more permanent location.
You got to think, if you did traveling, you probably wouldn't get that fan base.
Yeah.
It's like Nightmare. How far do people drive to go to Nightmare, and how far do people drive to go to the Netherworld and Darkness, and all the other ones? And it's like,
the farthest I've met of someone traveled to go to Nightmare was Germany.
I think I met some people from I think it was Britain, or somewhere around there.
Did they come just to go to National Nightmare?
Well, that was the year I think we were on the Transworld pre-show tour. So they were going to Transworld, but when they heard National Nightmare was on the pre-show tour, they signed up to do the pre-show tour. So I count that as they wanted to specifically see National Nightmare. And they're like, oh, this is part of it? All right, I'm going to sign up for that as well.
Damn. Yeah, I guess you're doing something right if you got people coming from all around the world to see your show.
Yep. We'll get there one day, Nate.
One of these days. One of these days. Hey, I've had somebody come from Nashville to come to my haunt. Oh, wait, that's not that far.
Well, we could try to change that for you. We'll try to get some people out of state to come check it out.
Ooh.
So get you some Alabama folk. Should be pretty easy around that area.
Well, wait. Now, I have had someone from Alabama come up here. There you go. So I'm
cross state lines.
Cross state lines. There we go.
Oh yeah.
All right. So our next question it's always a fun one because it brings back, inevitably it'll always bring back good memories for not only the person who's being asked the question but also for us as well. But it's what's one of your favorite memories from your time as a haunter? Something that just sticks out in your mind. It could be a funny story, or I've even had like some really for me, I've had moments where it's like that was really really nice to see a kid having that good of a time, or seeing families bonding over this experience of going to the haunted house. Just what's something that sticks out in your mind?
I was in queue line. This kid was scared shitless. They already paid for their tickets, and the dad was like, "Okay, and they're about to leave." And and I'm a silent character. I forget. I might have been the scarecrow that year. So I kind of motioned to the dad to kind of tuck back here away from everybody and out of the crowd, and I took mask off. I broke character, which I usually never do. But kind of calm the kid down. I was like, look, it's pretend, blasey, blasey, blasey. You can do it. And so it took him a minute. After about 5 minutes, he was like, okay, I'm going to go through. All right. So they actually went through, and the kid afterwards comes running straight up to me, hugs, high fives. And he was like, that was great. Thanks. And I was like, there we go. That's what it's about. May have taken me to break character, which, okay, sometimes you got to know when to do it.
Yep. And that's always been one of my things it's been a pet peeve of mine with some queue line performers is they'll see a kid who's already scared and traumatized and just keep going after them, and they're ruining this kid's image of haunted houses.
Yeah.
And I look at it, not only is that just kind of a shithead thing to do, like kids are an easy target, don't do that. Like kid's already scared, let him go. But also I look at it like you're damaging our future clientele.
Right. That's the kid that's going to get his buddies to come out and
Yeah, and I tell people all the time, I remember very distinctly, I was 8 years old. We were going into the mysterious mansion in Gatlinburg, and we're standing in line buying our tickets, and I hear a chainsaw fire up, and I'm like, nope, I'm out. I'm done. Don't want to do this.
Nope, I'm out.
And I remember my dad, stepping away, trying to stop me, and I punched him in the stomach, and I ran out the door. And he and I ended up sitting on the steps of the mansion. But clearly it didn't damage me to the point that I don't like haunted houses, because it was handled in a way that's like, all right, you don't want to do this. Let's, step back. Let's not traumatize you over it. My dad, he was, even though I just punched him in the stomach, he sat on the steps with me and
Nice.
waited for my mom and my aunt and uncle to go through. And all these years later, I look back on that and go, that's a good memory that I have at a haunted house, instead of being forced to go through and not enjoying it. Like, I didn't enjoy roller coasters for a long time because I was 4 years old and was tall enough to ride one, but I didn't want to. And I was told, like, well, you're going to ride it and you're going to like it. Well, I rode it and I did not like it and didn't ride roller coasters again until junior year of high school. And even now as an adult, like we went to Universal for our honeymoon, and I'm still not the biggest fan of them because I don't like sudden drops. Like they bother me, but I'll still do it. But for a long time I didn't, because I had that bad experience that time.
Yeah.
And to me, that's just it's kind of silly to do that to a kid at a haunted house who's clearly already scared.
Yeah, and like I said, that's the easy target. I don't go after the easy targets.
No.
Nah, there's no challenge in that.
Yeah.
And as I never go after Billy Badass, because he's got his guard up. Okay, well, I'll just let him walk right on by, and then I'll hit the people in the middle.
What I like to do with the Billy Badasses of the group is I'll make them think I'm going after one person, and they're cheering and egging you on. But then right as I'm going to go to that person, I'll turn, I'll jump out at them real quick, and it's just a startle. It's just a reflex. They jump, but they do it, and then everyone else that they're with laughs at them. Like, it takes the wind out of their sails. Like, yeah, you're not as tough as you think you are. You still get scared.
And people might not get scared, like I go through a haunted house, I don't get scared. I may get startled because somebody comes around the corner and throws a hand in your face. You're gonna react it if you don't.
And when those happen, I always I tell them, like, you got me, good job.
Good one, yep, good one. I always compliment the actors because because I know what they're going through.
Mm-hmm. I've always hated when other haunt actors will go through and they're just dicks. Like, be professional, man. We're all in the same industry. You bitch about people doing exactly what you're doing to me.
Right.
That's seeing in this time of all this COVID, I would love to be able to have a haunt live stream inside the haunt, like the security cameras. If there's a way they can stream them, but I don't know how you get around with filming of people without their. I guess it's not really without their knowledge, but because it wouldn't be closed circuit no more, it would be streaming all over. So maybe I guess you would have to have them sign a waiver, maybe.
You just have to make sure they knew about it going in, that you were doing live streaming in your show.
I think that'd be pretty cool, to just start where not give away what's going on in the haunt, but just certain parts you can hear and see the scares, but you don't know where it's.
I think there is a haunt that does that. Let's see.
Our last question, Nate.
Last question.
This is one that is one that I am personally probably the most interested in, as far as hearing what people have to say, and that's, what's a piece of advice you would give to someone who's either A, looking to get into the haunted house game, period, who's never done it, or someone who's been, an actor or a tech, and they're wanting to move into either a manager position or even take the leap and try and open their own show?
Ooh. Okay, so just like everybody else, we all want to go pro. We all want to go pro. But then when you get into it and you've been doing it and you realize you need to have a bankroll. And I would say, and if you are going to go pro and you do have that bankroll, you don't put on your own show. You don't have to copy what this guy did or be original. Come up with your own storyline, because you usually have the scene, this scene, this scene, this scene, this scene, this scene, you're out. Come up with your own storyline, create your own characters. I'm not a big icon character in a haunted house because to me they're overdone and not played out well. A lot of times. Now, don't get me wrong, sometimes there's been some really good iconic characters out there. But that's what I'd say to anybody wanting to go pro with it. If you've never been to one and you're wanting to start out, talk to the owner, talk to the manager, volunteer your time. And then you got to realize it's going to be a long nights, lots of sweat, probably some blood, and very little pay. But how many of us do it for the money?
Not into it.
No, you can't. You have to be passionate about it. You have to enjoy it, and you have to keep an open mind, and you can't think your haunt is the best, or, I work at the best haunt, because there is always somebody out there that's better or has a better scene.
Yeah.
But
it's okay to have pride in your show and take pride in what you're doing.
Take pride.
But there's a difference. There's a fine line that a lot of people don't realize is there's a difference between pride and arrogance.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And
you can be proud of the show you're a part of, and even in your heart, you may think you're genuinely the best because you're giving it your all and you're doing everything you can. But understand that people in other shows have that same feeling.
They got that same passion.
So if you're going online or whatever, you're like, oh, well, so-and-so haunted house is the best one. No one can even touch us. You're just looking like a dick.
Yeah. And, going along that same lines, don't talk trash about other haunts. Keep it to your damn self. Because I don't care what haunt I've been through. I've been through some crappy haunts. We all have.
Yep.
But even at the crappiest of crap haunts, there's always one thing in there that you're going to take away. Whether it was a correct position of lighting, whether it was, the position of a prop or the way the guy came out there, you're always going to take one thing away from something.
Absolutely.
And But then you also have charity hunts. Let's not forget about those guys who they don't have the bankroll.
Yep.
But they're doing it as a charity, so it's it's a good cause. And I go one up the road. Was at Myers Creek. That it's a good hunt.
Yep.
Not the best in Tennessee, but it's a good hunt, and I enjoy going there. And you could tell they have passion about it, and they'll sit and talk with you. And especially if you're wearing, you're repping, some, hunt gear, that they're going to go, okay, this guy is a hunt guy, and then they start knowing you, and then they're like, okay, yeah, and they'll chit chat with you and see how your stuff's going. And the other thing is, you can't be shy. You go to these conventions. Don't just hang around with your little entourage with your hunt. Go meet these other people.
Yep.
And I've met, just going to these conventions, some wonderful people. I know people all across the country, even up in Canada, Australia. There's some awesome, amazing people out there that if you didn't know them, you would see them walking on the street, you would get on the other side of the sidewalk. But then you get to know them, and they're the first person that's going to, take their shirt off and hand it to you if you don't have one. And
Yep.
so, hunters are just they're an amazing group of people. Just an amazing. I mean, because we're a family. Doesn't matter what hunt you're in, we're a family.
And with that, on the other side, you don't always get along with your family, but you're always family.
You always got their back.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah.
Well, cool.
I kind of missed the conventions. Damn it.
Dude, you and me both.
I'm just glad I was able to get down to New Orleans this year. That was I'm gonna miss New Orleans.
I was, my whole thing was like, man, 2020 is gonna be my year. Like, I'm gonna come in strong in Trans World, and
It was everything. It was like, damn. Once they started canceling one, it was like, ah.
The only silver lining I had on 2020 Trans World being canceled, or 2020 being canceled, is that I have more time to build new inventory for 2021.
There you go.
So I can come out even stronger at 2021.
There you go.
Assuming we're allowed to have a convention in 2021.
I was kind of thinking, sorry to interrupt, Nate.
Oh, you're fine.
When we're able to go out to Nate's, if we could set up a table to do a little podcast, just bring a couple of your masks and you can put them on the end of the table and kind of show them off, Matt.
Oh, yeah. I'll bring that pig down to you, Nate.
There you go. I'll add to the pig collection.
There you go.
Yeah, I go through these different weird, like 1 year, it's all pig mask. I want pig mask, and I'll use like one, but I have like 3 of them. And then the next year, scarecrows, and then the next year, it's this, and I'll have like 2 or 3, but I'll only use one. But I just look at it as, if I ever do go pro,
just building inventory, man.
I'm building inventory right now, and then I have it because costumes. That's one of my downfalls. I don't have enough costumes. So after Halloween, go to Spirit, and I just grab a lot of their capes, a lot of their gowns, and just the basic generic.
Hit up some Goodwills and stuff. Oh yeah.
See, I go to Goodwill. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go to Goodwill. I'm gonna go hunt finding, and I go in there, and I'm like,
mine goes. Yeah.
Your mind just goes blank, and it's like, I don't know what I'm looking for.
Yeah, I lucked out. Well, it worked out in my favor that my buddy who got me started in haunting, he got a hold of me. He goes, hey, I'm clearing out the storage unit. He goes, I've got several stacks of totes of stuff from Crone House that's left over. He goes, I'll sell it to you real cheap if you want it. I was like, yeah, sure. I bought it from him. I haven't had a chance to go through it yet, but there were 17 totes worth of haunted house stuff.
Oh, geez.
Like lighting, fog machines, speakers.
Oh, man. Nice.
Costumes, masks. So I was like, score.
Well, I had this great idea. I was going to put these wire shelves up in the garage, which are there, and I got my totes that slide in there, and they're perfectly labeled, and I got 3 more racks in the back bedroom, and everything's nice and labeled, and then I got all the totes in the storage shed, and they're all labeled, and then it's like, okay, I need this. I know I have it.
Right.
All right. Where did I put it? Organization's not a strong point of mine.
I feel like it's a lot of haunters are that way.
We're not hoarders. We're haunters.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Same sickness, different words.
Hell yeah.
Like I'm not the only one who's ever been driving down the road and seen a piece of foam in the ditch and gone, you know what?
Make a
That's a
real
$20.
good
That's a $20 piece of foam right there.
Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, driving through town with Carol Moore, you never know where you're going to end up.
I've never gone on one of his adventures with him. I always wanted to, just never had an opportunity to.
I've gone just going to lunch, and then on the way back,
we weren't even going on a hot porn tour.
See, what's that pile of trash over there?
Does he have a bunch of storage units full of stuff?
Not at the moment.
Oh, he got rid of all of it?
Well, a lot of it is still at National Nightmare. And everywhere he goes, he gets new collections, and then they end up living in the haunt he's working on.
God, that's the man that's just amazing at finding stuff.
He's got an eye for it, man.
And I know an area right now that has a whole, I mean, you can pretty much restaurant style furniture. It's all crap. It's all dumped, and it's sitting by the tracks. And if you want to go out there and clean it up, hey, have at it.
Yep.
Go right there to it. That'll help us out.
Like Carol, I was like, let's just you and me get a U-Haul, a 28-foot U-Haul truck, and a couple GoPro cameras, and we'll create a reality show, and we'll be haunt pickers instead of American pickers.
There you go. I like that.
Driving across the country, going into old rundown convenience stores and warehouses, and just pulling out the nastiest, rustiest piece of shit we can find.
Just put in a haunt so the actor can beat the hell out of it.
Yeah. And like every episode will end with Carol looking at the camera going, well, that's how you find haunt porn.
You don't have enough buttons there. You gotta undo some more buttons.
Hell yeah. All right. Well, Nate, man, we really appreciate you coming on. Dealing with all the Zoom hiccups.
It happens. Ain't no biggie. And if y'all ever want to come out and take a pre-tour and get your hands dirty and move some walls, hey, you're more than welcome to.
I'm planning on coming down and checking it out, and I'll be more than happy to help you move some walls and put them wherever you need them.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's the problem now is that I have some, I don't even know how many walls that I don't know where I'm going to store them. I'm not using them right. I don't know where I'm going to put them.
We need a Tennessee Hunters co-op.
Right.
It's like, yeah, I've got, X amount of stuff I don't have a space for this year. Who could use it?
That would be cool. Kind of like rent out stuff.
It's like, hey, I've got this. If you want to use it, what are you not using? We'll trade this season.
Yeah, a little haunt swap.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. All right, Nate. Well, we appreciate you, and I hope you have a good rest of the weekend and all that good stuff.
Oh yeah, fix to run out and get me some lunch. Speaking of all this food, I got to do a Home Depot run.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Matt, I guess take us out then, buddy.
All righty. All right, everyone. Thanks for joining us in this episode of New Haunt Order. We want to thank Nate Dingman for being here and hanging out and chit-chatting with us and talking haunted houses. I know it's a chore for you, Nate.
Yeah, it's tough.
like pulling teeth, man.
Right.
Well, again, thanks for listening, everybody. I'm Matt for Jim Jam. We'll see you next time. Stay spooky.
Peace.